Okay, I'd written, funny enough, something similar to Sophie was just saying as well, with regards to schools definitely don't identify sort of career paths within construction. I've been to a few careers events within schools and chatted to varying students about construction and the different pathways, and they don't understand at all. With regards to the trade roles, I think schools, and I'm perhaps stereotyping a little bit here, but I think schools lead non-academic people down a trade route, which is wrong, because obviously there's lots of opportunities within trades, there's lots of opportunities to develop, there's lots of career progression, and it doesn't matter whether you're academic or not. And I think the whole education piece within the schools, and not just the schools, with the parents, you know, to say there are opportunities, and what their opportunities with a company the size of ours, or a bigger company, that there's a wealth of opportunities from there. And I think we need to start at this point from an education piece to become more diverse, definitely.
The other thing as well, just to expand on that point, and sorry to jump in without putting my hand up, is that the skills that, so if an apprenticeship, for example, is 4 years long, the skills that we need in 4 years' time, I'm pretty guaranteed, are not the skills that we need today. So, so going down at your point around pushing people who are considered non-academic is just the most infuriating thing, because you have to be bloody clever to succeed in the construction world. You have to, it might not be traditional academia, however, you need to have your wits about you. You know, there's a whole set of skills that you absolutely require, but also the skills for our future will require traditional academic ability. It will. We will need to have people who can develop new technology. We will need to have people who can operate technology. We'll probably need a lot more data managers, people who have the ability to manage data, interpret data, than we do at the moment. So yeah, it's, oh God, it's one of my biggest frustrations, that is that they push, and then it gives construction the reputation that it doesn't require people with academic skills. My grandfather is a really, really great example of this, and he was his school wanted him to go to Oxford or Cambridge. He had the ability to go to Oxford or Cambridge, and they were really pushing him to go down that. He left school at 16 to become a bricklayer, and the school were absolutely furious about that. And that is just explains it so beautifully in a nutshell. Now, my grandfather is one of the most intelligent, forward-thinking, inspiring people I've ever met, and he's a bricklayer.
Great example. Thank you for sharing that, Sophie. Zoe, sorry, I missed your hand also.
It's okay, Stuart. It really hasn't been up very long, but thank you.
Good. Right.
So a few things that have come up for me. There's definitely some work with Sophie and CITB that we can start to think about, maybe future-proofing our business and focusing on those skills. And then whilst we're focusing on the skills, actually we are then starting to widen the diversity in terms of race, sex and experience. And I think there's definitely lots of work that we can do as a unit here for Novus to start to think about what it sounds like is that we've got some myth busting opportunities. So, you know, some Q&As around your experience and what it takes in your role and what the skills are, and starting to think about actually, you know, taking people through the journey, whether it's on site or whether it's at HQ. What does your role encompass, and you know, what's a day in the life look like, and sharing that experience. And I think through time we'll be able to educate some of that bias that maybe still exists. And I think it's definitely still there. And I think, you know, sometimes the minority of bias can overpower the good intentions that people have. And I think there's also some opportunity, like we've already identified with the schools, is maybe working with the Prince's Trust and starting to think about, you know, what initiatives can we partner with the Prince's Trust, maybe, you know, to get into sort of 11 to 15-year-olds to start to think about the education. And again, it's squashing that preconceived ideas around construction. Does it mean that I've got to always wear a hard hat, and does it mean that I've got to be really bolshy if I'm a female, and really starting to think about, well, no, actually, just like you say, to have that pathway to be authentic, what does that mean? And I think we've got to utilize people that are in that role to really showcase it, because I think that there can be a little bit of a disconnect if you've got somebody, maybe no offense, Sophie, but somebody like yourself who there isn't that kind of connection. If you're on the site and they go, well, Sophie's not in that role, so how does she know? So if we've got somebody who's really in the role, and any question that's asked for that individual, we can start to share their experience. And again, it's more about, it doesn't matter whether you're a female or a male, but delivering what you need in that role, your knowledge, your experience, your capability. What do you bring to the role? And I think that will start to change people's mindsets. But it's a long road ahead. There isn't a magic wand here, unfortunately. Otherwise, we would have bought one 20 years ago. But there's definitely things that we can start chipping away at. And this forum today is one of those vehicles, isn't it, in the right direction?
Absolutely. And I think as well, from a technology perspective, if anything that's come from the past 12 months, it shows you how you can reach and target a wider audience. And you could do some great work. You could actually, rather than just purely focusing on one school, you could actually have a number across a region and regions rather, and across our geography that we can reach out to, we can start to communicate with, we can run careers events and things like that. So we are showcasing the wide variety of opportunities that are available at Novus, and make sure that people really understand the opportunities that are available to them and the career paths that they can take within construction, and obviously within Novus as well.
Yeah.
Right, I'm very conscious of time. We have 4 minutes left, so can we have any closing statements from anybody at all, actually? So any
I just
final
wanted
thoughts?
to say, Stuart, I was just going to say, Stuart, I think it's been an absolutely fascinating discussion, which I've enjoyed listening to, because I think what's been, as what I've been writing down, is just that we've been talking about some very sort of gritty things that you could change, not easily, but you could definitely do those that are sort of short-term things that go, we can challenge those behaviours, put in place frameworks, but also those longer-term strategic things about how you do educate schools to start to think differently about the construction sector, and how we could perhaps lead on that through industry bodies like the CITB. But I thought the contributions from people have been brilliant, really, and that's where you learn the most in terms of how did it feel as you were going through your career. So I just wanted to thank people for being really honest on the call, even though we're being recorded, that people haven't held back or anything. And I think really, really useful insights. So thank you very much.